60 Minutes correspondent Lesley Stahl is here with me now. Lesley, first off, your heart just breaks for this family, for these parents, when you hear what they had to go through. But then talking about the video, it's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
For me too, as a journalist, to ask them to go back there, dwell in that time, in that horrible period that they went through of agony. In the beginning, not even knowing if he was alive, then learning that he was being tortured. So it was difficult for me to be asking them the questions, and obviously hard for them to answer.
Our awareness of what was happening with him was sort of a shorter period of time than for them, they could not talk to the media. They couldn't talk to anybody.
Well, they were advised not to talk to the media. That's a question whether that's a good idea or not.
Yeah.
And of course, I would imagine that they were just so much in despair, panic, terror. I mean, they were terrorized. There's no question about it. And it's been a year. It's been over a year. And they want to speak out against the policy that the U.S. government has of not paying ransom. Because European countries, a lot of them, probably most of them, do pay ransom, and their citizens are set free. Steven was in a room with over 20 hostages, and he sat there and watched the Europeans leaving and going home because their governments had paid, and they didn't pay that much. They were asked for 137 million. I assume that the Europeans were asked for a lot of money too, and they got it reduced way down. And we've reported that Spain paid something like $7 million and got 3 hostages out.
You're kidding me.
No, and similar amounts for the French. So, you know, it could have been negotiated way down. So,
I mean, certainly there's an argument that it has been put forth that, look, if we pay ransom, then, you know, our Americans will be held hostage more often, and this is a way of discouraging people from taking Americans hostage. But is that really the case? Because it seems like Americans are still being held hostage.
There's a new study that says it's not the case. Obviously, in places like Mexico and Brazil, the kidnappers, the gangs who do the kidnapping, know exactly who they're going for. They want the richest guys' kids, and they target. But what's going on in the Middle East and in North Africa with the terrorist groups, they don't know who they're getting. It's targets of opportunity. They see a Westerner, and they grab him. They don't know if he's French, they don't know if he's Russian, they don't know who he is. And they grab him, and then they learn which country they're from. So there's no evidence that who pays or who doesn't pay makes a difference in who is kidnapped.
Right. We know the government doesn't pay, but what about private citizens?
Well, in the case of the Sotloffs, as you'll see in the story, they were threatened with prosecution if they raised money, and anyone who gave them money would have been prosecuted. They were actually threatened.
And did they attempt to raise money anyway? I mean, if it was my child, I would say, look, I'll go to jail.
They did, but they were afraid, and they couldn't raise anywhere close to what obviously was asked. But they did change that policy. Now, citizens will not be prosecuted. Their friends will not be prosecuted, but the government still will not pay ransom. And in these European cases, the governments really weigh in and help. Well, and I mean, even raising $7 million, $3 million is hard for a family, a middle-class family in this country.
Yeah, well, I mean, just what we saw so far is so moving. I'm sure the 60 Minutes piece is fantastic. Lesley Stahl, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Well, you can watch Lesley's full report this Sunday night on 60 Minutes on CBS. It'll include details from a presidential aide who says some White House officials feel they failed the families of hostages.